72. Hope everyone is getting ready for a wonderful Independence Day weekend. It's supposed to have really nice weather. Today we are pushing 88 degrees here in Wisconsin, about 352% humidity. And the dogs and I are working early to make sure that it's safe for them. I think while working with the dogs, to give you an idea of how hot it is, I drank 3 bottles of water was while I was working with the dogs. So that should show you with a fur coat on how hot they were. So it's obviously I'm not jumping in the pond. At least I don't have to yet. I haven't had one that gave me a reason. But it is very hot out. We got to do what's right for the dogs. Be safe for them and be safe for yourself out there. I usually work dogs starting, sometime we start working around 6:30. We're usually done by about 10 o'clock. Usually 9 o'clock, but there's always something that gets in the way. Ace is here. He wants to say hi. He's trying to get on my lap right now, I think, because he wants to be the new co-host of Dog Talk Live. Here, let me get my arm under him. So, we can see Ace. Yes, he's a very nice puppy. Ace ran as the test dog at the Whistle HRC test for finished. He smashed the test, did great. Obviously, he wasn't running as a competition dog. He was more like a French model. He does want to say, though, that he is quite the stud and available to approved girls. I'm a wingman. So, please check in. Let me know where you're from. Okay, it's time to get done. Let me know what questions you guys have today. What do you guys want to talk about? I finished up with a probably more of a hard day on the dogs today. Really trying to rein them all in on their obedience so that we're really dialed in as we transition from working on our yard work or our obedience and building our base to starting to work in the field. So it was a lot of throwing bumpers, making the dogs sit, correcting them if they did move and try to run, and keeping them so that they're solid so that we can really get ready for once we get into doing work out in the other parts of our property. The way my property is set up, I've got 2 kennels at the end of my driveway. They're both right off of a pond. The one kennel is a puppy kennel, so that does not have training dogs in it. The other kennel is training dogs. I will do a lot of my work in the pond, and then I also have a large field that I take the dogs out. So as I'm working on just obedience stuff, we work in those areas, and then once we start to really transition into what we're learning, we will kick over onto the other parts of the property where we have flooded timber. We've got a marsh, we've got other ponds that are more channely, and then I've got some areas that are very tight as far as like channels where you can go from in the water back up onto land in about 20 yards. So it's stuff that's great for teaching concepts. When you are training dogs, you always find your own rhythm and your own method, and it is something that we have stuff where I just basically transition from one thing to another. We got Tim checking from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Good to see you, Tim. Let me know if you have any questions. Again, as you guys check in, please let me know if you have questions. Let me know where you're from and what you guys want to talk about. It's funny, you can tell that people are getting back to work and that things are getting back to normal because we have less questions. I don't think our viewership is that much down, but less questions, and I'm assuming that's because people can listen but not type and interact with us. I'm sure many people after work also come back and watch this and talk to us from there. Hello, Mr. Rich from Nebraska. How are you doing? Memphis is somewhere. I don't know where, but she is around. Scarlett. I dropped some dog food, and the dogs are over constantly by the fridge because there's like one kernel of dog food. So that is what has taken all their time. It's 3 dogs. You can hear them over there snuffling, trying to get that one piece of dog food. My goodness, it's one piece of kibble, people. Or not people, dogs. So Brad, Jeff, joining from Verona. Nash is up to 29 pounds. That's awesome, Brad. Send me a picture. I don't know if you can put a picture up. If you can put a picture up here on Dog Talk Live, let's do that. Guys, throw pictures of your dog up during this. The only thing we ask when we ask people for pictures is please do not send them as a litter advertisement, etc. If it's just a picture of your dog, we'd love to see it. If we cannot on a live, which I don't know if we can. Then I totally get it. If you're on YouTube watching, you can send us a picture to our Facebook page. Just go on the page, click send a message, and then you can attach a picture. And we will feature your dogs on our pages so that we can have them up and make them famous. We always put up, I would say, somewhere around 12 pictures a day. Today, I totally spaced it. Went out to train dogs. I had a bunch of dogs dropped off for boarding this morning because of the fourth weekend, and forgot to put photos up. So we should start getting lots of pictures up here shortly. What I do, I always schedule them and have them so that they pop up during the day without me having to stick them up over time. Hey, come here. Memphis, come here. Memphis is over there just tearing ass at that refrigerator. I know Rich wants to see Memphis, so come on. We'll bring the co-host up. Come on, she's getting pregnant. Well, she is pregnant. She's getting larger. So, this is Memphis. She is the co-host of Dog Talk Live. Rich wants to know, what value does a hunt test have for a dog? Rich, you're teaching them stuff they're going to use during hunting. Some of it is not, especially the AKC hunt tests. Some of the things that you're running are probably things your normal hunting dog will not see. As far as distance, they'll have 3 marks go down, and marks or birds go down, and they'll all be over 100 yards. I will argue that that's not necessarily a hunt test. That's more of a trial type thing, because, well, if you're that bad of a shot and your birds are all going down that far away, you've got an issue. But the value that it gives you something to do during the off season, standards to train for. If you have a breeding program or ever want to breed your dogs, that's a great way to campaign or market them. And a lot of people just do it for fun. People have their kids that do sports, and some people have dogs that do sports. So it is such that in a normal year, they are held all over most areas in Wisconsin. There's usually one every weekend. This year, I don't know of many that have been run just with the COVID stuff. I know a lot of the state grounds are closed, where you can only have a certain amount of people on them. So this year's been a lot less. But if you ran HRC, now you can run 2 tests a weekend. And when you're running those 2 tests, after a certain amount of passes, you get the ribbons like the one you see behind me. You can get your neat titles in your dog. Ace is a HRCH Hunter Retriever champion. He's a master hunter. He's qualified all age, which is a field trial. And he has 1 pass on the HRC Grand, so he soon will be hopefully a GRHRCH, Grand Hunting Retriever champion. You need 2 passes for that and a certain amount of points. But for me, I do it from a business standpoint to show that my males are proven, and to advertise them, and to also just help keep our kennel relevant out there. For normal people, is it something you have to do? No, it's not going to make your dog any better as far as a hunting dog if you're already working with them, but it is fun to compete and have a standard that you compete against, so that you can, it gives you a reason to work with your dog. And you can also join clubs. And once you're in the clubs, you meet some good friends, and you can get access to training properties and access to people that'll help you train your dog. So I hope that helps. Kentucky, in this hot weather, do you see much difference in heat tolerance between black and yellow labs? Mark, you know what? If you have a black dog that is in the sun, obviously they're going to pick up heat more. As far as if you're working in the shade or they're in water, there's not that much difference. But again, if you are working out in the full sun, black dog is going to heat up a little bit more. Not that I can say I see a difference in it, but either way, when it's hot weather, you have to be very careful for the dogs. Work with them early, work with them on short things, short duration, especially on land. And then also realize that when you're working in water, the top 12 to 24 inches of water will be heated up almost to the daytime temperature. So that you are constantly dealing with the dogs being overheated and then jumping into what would be considered hot water. So always keep that in mind and do what's right and what's safe for the dog. Mr. Peterson, how are we doing today? Good to see you. Your dog did great today. Chad, your dog, today we are working on making him sit until released on his name. I had to correct him a few times. He got a little pouty, but he snaps right back. He did an awesome job today. Just getting him to do that and getting him to finish his retrieves. Dan is asking, What is the best way to train your dog in field with another dog if you do not have a second dog? Dan, if you are talking about getting your dog used to working with a second dog around, if you join a club or get in some chat rooms for retriever training, you can usually find people that will have a dog they want to work with another dog. It's called honoring. If you're talking waterfowl, it would be sitting and letting the other dog do a retrieve while your dog watches. If you are in the field and you're going to have a work on retrieves, if a bird goes down and your dog is first there, it would be calling the other dog off. So I hope that helps. We must have gotten a piece of food out because everyone now is back over here by me. Everyone's Scarlett is here. She wants to say hi. She's biting my hand. She is here. Let's see, Scarlett. This is Scarlett. She loves to bite my hand. I love to wrestle around with her. Memphis is here again, and then there's Ace. So now we must have gotten the piece of food out from underneath the fridge because everyone is here, and I am, again, very popular doing Dog Talk Live. If you haven't been on Dog Talk Live before, we ask that you let us know where you're from. We ask that you let us know what questions you have. We want to help you get involved with dogs in the field and help with any questions. Hey, good to see you, Laura. Nice to have you on here. Yeah, Scarlett says hi too. Again, hot weather. Kate and I are going to do a podcast tonight about fireworks and dogs. Our podcast is on Spotify. It's on Anchor. I will list the places that it's on so that we have a full list of them. Put it on the Anchor app. You can download the Anchor app on your phone to listen to the podcast. It's Sporting Dog Adventures. And then Anchor actually will put the podcast different places. And I would like to tell you I know all of where it's going to be. But with the app, as well as the fact that I believe I could submit the podcast to other places, it is hard to say where it's going to end up. I'm still figuring the app out. Memphis tries to co-host there. What we'll do is we'll do one podcast at least a week that is only for the podcast, and then I started taking recordings of the Dog Talk Lives and putting one of those up, and just going to kind of see how it goes, see what people like, and go from there. If you like to send a question to have us use it on our podcast, you can email it to me, sportingdogtv@gmail.com, and I will actually email or use the podcast or use it during the podcast and answer it more in depth, probably a little bit more in depth than what we do here with Dog Talk Live, because it's kind of like rapid fire questions. But yeah, Memphis is due, I think she's due August 10th. So we've got, I can definitely tell she's pregnant. We've got a little Memphis bred to our dog Pickett, and we will have a chocolate litter. They are all sold, but she is very excited to be a mom. And then maybe we'll have to do Dog Talk Live from out in the kennel, I guess, as she is the co-host. So please let us know what questions you have. Hello, Mr. Sheck. It's great to see you. Let us know what questions you have. Let us know what you guys would like to talk about today. Dog Talk Lives, we normally go 15 to 30 minutes. We're getting up to about 13 minutes now. So once we get to a point, we will do a last call for questions, probably here in another minute or so if we don't get any. And we do this at least twice a week. I'm hopeful I can do tomorrow. I don't know. Tomorrow's going to be kind of a crazy day. We've got a lot of extra dogs in now for dog boarding, so it just gives me a lot more work. But hopefully we can get on tomorrow, but otherwise we will be on early next week with our Dog Talk Live. And again, I will be putting on a podcast tomorrow on dogs and fireworks. Memphis, what do you think about that? She doesn't really care. She sees that someone's got a toy now, and now it's on persona non grata. She wants to get off my lap to go play and grab the toy. She is the dog in my house that when someone else has a toy, it doesn't matter what it is, doesn't matter if she just had it, she has to go steal it from them. And it's almost like she tells them, you're too stupid to play with that. It's my toy. And then she takes it from them, and she'll go and play with it for a while, and then comes back and drops it and ignores it until someone else picks it up. So she's kind of the bully in the house. Everyone thinks she's sweet, but she's quite the interesting dog here. So we are going to do last call on questions. Last call. Again, it's a nice, beautiful day out there. It's hot. I want everyone to have a great weekend. Even if you are just going up to let your dogs hang out and have fun, keep an eye on them. Make sure they have lots of water. Make sure they have time out. If you can, have it in the have them in air conditioning for a part of the day to cool off. That's very important. Jesse, buttoned up the HR title on 2 of your dogs. What would be different in finished? Jesse is running HRC hunt tests, and he's asking what the difference in an HR to a finished, which is the HRCH title, will be from the test. Your HR or your hunter retriever, that is a double with a blind. It's usually a simple blind and a fairly straightforward double. When you get into finished, your HRCH level, Jesse, you're going to have a third mark. So you're going to have a triple, and your blind is going to be more difficult, and the marks are going to be more difficult. From running from HR to HRCH, my suggestion is always work very much on your obedience and your control. For doing your blinds, you aren't going to get near the leniency on whistle refusals and cast refusals, and then your line manners need to be locked in so that you're really working well. You've got a walk up where you're walking with the dog at heel, and a bird will fall in front of the dog that you need to keep them solid on, and then you also have an honor where the dog has to watch another dog work. Which is always a challenge too, going from one to the other. So it really comes down to really work on your control and make sure that you're solid as far as where you're at, and the dog is completely biddable and under control, so that you get to that next level and you don't have something shocking happen, like your dog break or your dog refuse you a couple times on a cast or a whistle. So I hope that helps. So that's going to be it for Dog Talk Live today. I do want to thank you guys for stopping in. Again, I will put a link for our podcast out tomorrow here on the page. If you go to the Anchor app, Anchor or Spotify, you can find our podcast, Sporting Dog Adventures. We're going to put at least 1 or 2 up a week, and one of them will always be a Dog Talk Live. So hope you guys have a great weekend. Enjoy the holiday weekend. Happy 4th of July weekend, everybody. Take care. God bless.